Hello. Today I'm going to talk about the new Supergirl film, and yeah, which is directed by Craig Gillepsie and stars Millie Alcock and Eve Ridley, uh, Matthias Schoenaerts. I don't believe I've ever really seen this man before in anything. Does not mean I haven't, but the name just is not coming to me. And Jason Momoa and David Corenswit is in this film also. It's obviously part of the DC universe. And the overall synopsis is that, follows a directionless, traumatized Kara Zor-El, who is struggling to find her purpose now that her famous cousin Kal-El, Superman, lives a full life on Earth. And she is passing the time partying off-world on a red sun solar system to escape her painful past. She is approached by Ruthie Mari Knoll, who a young warrior seeking justice because her family was killed. And then when her family is killed by Krim of the Yellow Hills, and he poisons Kira's dog Crypto, in which he has 3 days to live unless he's able to get the antidote that he has to him. And as a result, she agrees to help. Kira agrees to help Ruthie out, and as they are going through, they meet Lobo, who is a bounty hunter and is quite unpredictable. His lore, for perhaps anybody who is not familiar with the character, is he's one of the very few characters who can actually beat Superman, and he is somebody who has been kicked out of both heaven and hell. Like, nobody wants him. That is just how he is. Like, he died. It's basically, it's rare for him to die. Like, in order for him to really be killed, he has to be killed by somebody of his own species. But he killed every single person that was of his own species, and so now really nobody can kill him. But there have been a few occasions where he has died, and first he went to heaven, but then heaven didn't want him, and so he comes back to Earth, and then later on he dies again, and then he goes to hell because heaven won't accept him, but then hell kicks him out just because of how he is. And so yeah, it's like nobody wants him. So, and this film, the main influence, from what I've gathered, is a comic book, like a little series that went on from like 2021 to 2022. It's called Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, and that's why this film is very gritty, and the character is hardened. They changed some stuff from that story for this film, but overall, like why the film is very dark and gritty, it's because of it's following that storyline. And I've seen a lot of people online saying that this movie is awful, with basically nothing really good about it. And then I've seen people really praising this, like it's like one of the greatest films of the year and one of the greatest comic book films ever. Even like I guess maybe even specifically DC. I think it's a fine movie. I saw this with family members, like sister and brother-in-law, and their two kids. The music, the soundtrack was pretty cool. You can definitely tell that Guardians of the Galaxy feel of this film, and I think the soundtrack itself is part of that. And yeah, the acting was fine overall. Everybody I mentioned was good, but yeah, I think Lobo did the character of Lobo was Jason Momoa. I really liked him the best. He was very good. And obviously this is a PG-13 film, so he can get darker, and I don't know if they ever will go darker with him. I mean, it's fairly possible, but yeah, it's a fine movie. I thought it wasn't. I'm not going into overt details because it just came out, so I'm not gonna do any major spoilers. But yeah, I thought it was fine, and I haven't seen the Superman movie, which some might be shocked, but I just never got around to ever seeing it in the theater, and I just also haven't gotten the Blu-ray for whatever reason. And I think it's not that expensive now, so in a way, I probably should at least get the Blu-ray just to watch it. And yeah. I guess my take is more neutral, and it's flat out awful, or at least compared to those saying it's flat out awful, or it's just phenomenal, 10 out of 10. Like it's fine. Obviously I saw it the one time, and I did see it in IMAX, so that also might have had definitely an impression. But I saw it last Wednesday, like in the evening, so it was fine. Not necessarily the greatest film in the world, but not awful either. Like it's one of those movies where people seem to be incredibly mixed. People who just are bashing it relentlessly, and those who are praising it to no end. And yeah, and that's just the average moviegoer and also fans. Obviously I read comic books, and though I'm more into Batman, clearly, but I know about stuff with Superman and Supergirl, and here it's like you get to see her. She's as it's described, she's a hardened Kryptonian survivor who watched her planet and family die, and you see a portion of Krypton being taken and blown out into space, or not blown out, but flown out into space so they can all live, really. And so actually she's like 10 years younger than Kal-El, who obviously landed on Earth when when Krypton exploded. So just before it exploded, you know, his aunt and uncle and many others got out, and yeah, you see her backstory, and that was pretty cool. I liked that, and you get to see her and Superman meet for the very first time, and he's near the Fortress of Solitude. You know, they're both near the Fortress of Solitude, and yeah, and you know, obviously there's also a language barrier because they're you know, she spoke Kryptonian, whereas he grew up speaking English, and that was an interesting choice that I found. There's no way it doesn't make sense that, you know, I guess to a good extent that they would definitely, that, you know, Krypton would have its own language. So yeah, obviously in the past, like, oh, they all speak English because that's. But obviously the creators were American and they spoke English, so they wrote in English. So everybody, like from Krypton to clearly in Midwest America, specifically Kansas, you know, they speak English. So I thought that was interesting, and yeah. Actually, you know, more I look at Matthias shown in arts, shown in arts. Yeah, okay. Looking at his stuff he has done here, and I've definitely heard of various films he's done, and I've probably seen like advertisements here and there. Yeah, okay, yeah, I've seen him in being in things, but I just hadn't really ever watched anything that he had been in before. So this was interesting, but yeah, yeah. Matthias Shonen Arts was a very good villain. I'll just say that. And yeah, he's from Belgium, so he was good. And I mean, at times he kind of seemed to be over the top, but then again, for a villain in a superhero film, you know, that's fairly acceptable at times. And yeah, I thought it was fine here, especially compared to some of the other stuff, you know. And he's also very ruthless too, you know. Yeah, it's a yeah, it was a fine watch, you know. Yeah. Anyway, that's really all I've got. You know, I thought it was fine. I didn't think it was horrendous, nor necessarily film of the year compared to at least some people I've seen were really praising it. That's how it's kind of like. It's like, oh, best film of the year so far. It's like, you know, I took a moment to think about everything I saw, and then yeah, that's why I'm now just making this video, because, you know, I would have had a lot of mixed emotions for sure. Um, it was fine. Yeah. Um, anyway, that's my thoughts. If you've seen it, you can let me know if you liked it at all, or if you disliked it at all, or maybe you're indifferent. Like, you know, there are things you liked about it, but then other things you didn't. In a way, I'm kind of like that, but also I kind of was just more. Again, it could be the IMAX experience that I'm like, oh, this was. You know, that probably does absolutely have an effect on me. But you know, I thought it was fine. Greatest film of the year, not necessarily, but again, we are halfway through the year, so clearly we have another 6 months ahead. And so, yeah, be here. I'll be here to see some more stuff in the theater as the coming months happen. And yeah, anyway, yeah, let me know what you thought if you've seen it, and if you haven't, maybe you were never gonna see it, or if you were, maybe it'd be like, maybe when it's on like streaming and Blu-ray and all that, when it's sort of like widely more available and it's not in the theater, I'll check it out. Which I think in some cases you can. I think that's absolutely, uh, definitely fine to see, especially for certain genres of films. Some people aren't super into comic book films, superhero films. They might like them, but you're like, I don't know if I want to go to the theater for every single one of them. Like I might for here, here, and here, but not all of them. So yeah. I hope all of you are doing well. Hope you've had a great weekend, and I hope your week is starting off well. Please have a great day and a great week. And yeah, this Saturday is Independence Day, so yeah, United States of America is turning 250 years old, so that's cool. So probably won't do a big outside thing again like I've done a few years in the past, but I'll probably make a video definitely about that. And yeah. Anyway, please take care. Have a great week, and I hope you all have a great Independence Day at the end of the week, and I'll see you then. Please take care again. Yeah, just repeating myself now. So, yeah, hope all is well and will continue to be well. So, yeah, have a great week, and sayonara. Bye.